What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and I'm excited. I'm going to be doing my second session of this now. I'm going to do this every week, and I reached out to Lloyd. He's a great subscriber of mine, member of my channel, and he wanted to come on, and I'm happy that he's coming on, and I'm looking to get a different perspective from the Giants. And Lloyd, thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it, Chris. This is be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
Talk football.
I appreciate how active you are on my channel. You're a diehard Giants fan, and figured we start with that. You know, the beginnings, how you became a Giants fan, and your experience of being a Giants fan over the course of your life.
Well, it started with my dad. My dad got me into it probably when I was 16, 17 years old, and we used to watch the games together, and for quite a long stretch. I'm 60 years old, so 43 years, I guess. So yeah, it's been a while, and there's been ups and there's been downs, but the ups I can always look back and look at it and say, oh yeah, that was awesome. The downs, well, hopefully we're gonna get back to the ups soon.
Yeah, for sure. And 43 years. So you've seen all the Super Bowls, and you've seen all the downs. And they used to be a lot of newer Giants fans don't realize they used to be it used to be worse back then before they started winning Super Bowls than it even is now. As bad as it is now, it used to be even worse back then.
Oh, this is Super Bowl time now compared to what it was back then. Yeah, it was god awful. I mean, go back to Hanley and even go back further to the Pizarnik fumble. Oh, it was just awful.
But
it's hard on the heart to be a Giant fan, no doubt, and especially being a Giant fan for a long period of time.
Yeah, but the ups are definitely you go and look over the course of history. The 4 Super Bowls, they've only been favored in 1, and if I'm not mistaken, the 5 NFC title games that they've won all 5. I think they were only favored in 1, maybe 2. So when they get there, they make it count, but they definitely put you through a lot of heartache. Let's talk about when they brought in LT and how the organization started to change once you got LT in here, and it became a defense-first team, something that I think a lot of Giants fans want to get back to right now. But talk about LT, talk about Banks, the Crunch Bunch, and all of that.
Yeah, LT, thank God the Saints took George Rogers in the 81 draft instead of LT because, and I saw, and it's a good view for any Giant fan is go look at a Football Life LT edition, and you'll get an idea of how great of a player he was. And so yeah, I mean, we got the second pick, and he even said in that show that, well, when the first pick went, he went to the fridge to get a beer, and the Giants picked him so quickly he never actually saw Rozelle call his name. So that was like, holy jeez, So yeah, he was a Giant fan. And another thing was Parcells had called Al Groh, who was a linebacker coach at University of North Carolina, and he says, what can you tell me about this kid LT? And he says, I'm going to keep it short. He's everything you want. He's everything you want. And that was good enough. And Parcells kind of trusted in Groh because, he had known him for a while, and he had said, okay, that's good enough for me. And there you go. But yeah, when I hear people today talk about, Simmons is the next LT or this guy is the next. No, they're not. They're not even close. If you watch what he brought to the table, there's nobody like him.
Yeah. No, there's only one LT. We say it all the time. There's only one LT, and we're gonna get into the draft talk and everything else. But Simmons, obviously, a lot of Giants fans are very excited about him. But yeah, he's not gonna be able to make. I don't think people realize, and I didn't even grow up in that era. I was born in '85, but I know the stories. I've watched the highlights. I've watched the film, and LT changed game plans. I mean, offenses had to revolve their entire. They had to change their whole. He changed the game.
Bill Walsh and Joe Gibbs, also on that Football Life, was mentioning that they did their whole game plan around LT because he was just that big of a force. The H-back was way back when Bill Walsh was instituting his system, that was when they first started the H-back.
Right.
Because a running back wasn't able to block him.
Yeah.
I mean, so they tried a tight end, and that didn't work half of the time, you know. So yeah, so when they kind of make comparisons, yeah,
I think they crave that. And then obviously, yeah. And you and I both agree. Defense wins championships, but I want to get into the talk with that in a second. But before I do that, I want to kind of get your take on the modern day Giants, what they've been doing, what you think of Dave Gettleman, what you think of Joe Judge. The changing of the guard at the coaching search. Did you agree with the decision to leave Gettleman on? Do you like what they're doing going forward? And what do you think of Joe Judge?
Well, you know, Joe Judge, when he first got hired, everybody, including myself, said, well, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
You know, then I saw his presser and I'm going, okay, I like the talk track. I like it a lot. And I said, if he goes through with what he says, we're going to be in good shape. I like the guy. I mean, I like the guy even when he said, well, you know, he didn't want to name names and he didn't want to do any of that. I got that part. I did. I understood it, you know, and hopefully he's going to continue in that vein of best players play.
Right.
That is all about competition, and competition lights a fire under guys. I mean, you know, so, and I think we're tracking in the right direction this time. I'm hoping, you know, like any other Giant fan, I'm hoping.
You got to hope. That's all. And you bring up a really good point about that point about Joe Judge. I don't bring that up a lot. I actually like that too. How he's kind of trying to promote competition within the roster. He didn't go out of his way to nominate, even though everybody knows with a brain knows Daniel Jones is the quarterback, but he doesn't want to put any name above anybody else.
And Saquon's the running back. We all know that. I mean, you know, you're not stupid. You're not gonna have Saquon sit the bench, or Daniel Jones for that matter. So, but yeah, he did it the right way. I liked it.
Yeah, it's all about team unity, even with his coaching staff. When he brought everybody to the combine, I like that he's a CEO and he's kind of trying to create, I guess, a culture with the New York Giants.
Yeah, and you know, it goes back to being in the right mindset with Belichick, with Saban. You know, these guys are awesome coaches, and you know, being in that system, you hope you learn. You hope you learn from those guys because they're the best, you know, at what they do. So
right, who better to learn from? And the special teams background, when they first hired him, you know, I was doing a lot of research on all the potential coaching hires. Don Wink Martindale, Eric Bieniemy was another really popular candidate that Giants fans liked. And I really never thought he was going to be the guy. Not because I wasn't impressed with some of the things I read. I read he was incredibly smart. Like you said, he had connections to Belichick and Saban. But it's traditionally the Giants don't go this route. They don't go with a 38-year-old special teams coordinator. But when you really think about it, and when you try to be positive and optimistic, and you think about it, it is valuable that he is a special teams coordinator because he gets experience on both sides of the ball, and he's got to get the most out of the worst players on the roster.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know, but Belichick was a special teams and linebacker coach.
Right.
So, you know, again,
not too bad.
Yeah, not bad. And like you said in your previous things, I mean, Harbaugh and, you know, Tomlin and, you know, pretty good coaches.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's no perfect answer to where you get your coach from. You look at, I mean, are you a basketball fan at all?
Yeah.
Right. You look
used
at,
to be
go ahead.
Further before, but not so much now. But yeah, I follow it.
You look at what the Knicks have done. They bring in all these super experienced coaches, and they don't do anything. So it's not always that's not always the answer. Bringing in this guy like you know, some of the more experienced guys like Ron Rivera. Sometimes it's best to find that guy that's new to the game, and he's going to bring a different look to the football team.
Well, sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, you know, and you know, with Judge, he seems to have an open mind, and the players love the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, from everything I've read, players absolutely love him. So he's a coach's coach. He's a player's coach. So I'm hoping, again, that word hope.
He's coming.
We can only hope.
The other thing that you could say is he came in with a clear plan. Like you could tell that this guy's organized. He knew what he wanted to do before he got there with all the coaches he brought in, the free agents, and that's another thing that I'm really impressed with.
Yeah, and I like the free agents. I know a lot of people, Martinez, he can't cover. Well, okay, maybe he doesn't do, but again, show me what you can do. Don't tell me what you can't do. I like that philosophy. It's, and then you go out players to complement the other players. That's what it's all about. It's all about a team game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and that's a great quote. The Judge also talked about versatility and everything else. I want to talk a little bit more about Gettleman, then we'll get into the draft and everything else about what you think of the free agents going forward. Were you surprised when they kept Gettleman after they fired Shermer?
No, not really, because, and I know Gettleman has done some really wacky things, Williams being the latest, but I kind of like him. He's a little old school for me, but okay. But you look at his drafts, they're not awful. Yeah. They're not awful. Free agents, you know what? GMs, there's 32 GMs in the league. Is everybody a home run hitter at 100%? No, they all screw up. They all, do picks the Saints thing back in '81. I'm sure they're kicking their butts now going, we could have had LT,
Yeah.
So Gettleman, not everything is going to be 100%.
Yeah. No, I think the thing with Gettleman, I think, first off, I think that he definitely has a personality where you either love him or you hate him. I could definitely see why people feel like he's obnoxious and he's too brash. So I get that aspect of it. And he makes moves that he knew before he made them that it's going to upset fans. And those fans probably will never forgive him for Trading Odell Beckham and doing things like that.
Right. Oh, I thought Odell Beckham had to go anyway. I mean, I love that trade.
Yeah.
He wore out his welcome a long time ago.
Yeah.
And as far as I was, and he's a great player, but he just wasn't. He was him. It was all about me, not the team and the antics and everything else. He's not anybody I wanted on the team.
Yeah. No. To be honest with you, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I can't say I wasn't surprised. I was surprised when it actually happened because you don't ever think that you're gonna trade your franchise player, which he was at the time.
Right.
But after the fact, and I had a couple hours to think and let it set in, I'm like, I'm really not surprised. This guy, when you really think about it, and it's not just him, it's a lot of wide receivers. There's a lot of divas. That's a known position to be a diva position. Do you want your young quarterback to come in and have a diva at wide receiver where if Beckham's not happy, he's going to complain, he could ruin your quarterback? You look at Eli Manning. When he first started, what happened when we got rid of Tiki Barber and what happened when Shockey went down? Eli got a lot better, even with worse talent.
And you look at Odell now on Cleveland. It's the same thing. It's like I'm not getting the ball enough, and enough about Odell. He's Cleveland. I can care less.
But and as far as the free agency goes, it seems like you said you were kind of in favor with the moves. You like Martinez, you like Bradbury, you like the direction of the team.
Yeah, I like Bradbury, and I like what you had mentioned about being 3-year or 1-year contracts. Again, helps with the cap space down the road, which is great. I think these players are serviceable or better. Are they a home run hitter like a Clowney? No, but they're not $20 million either. I mean, so.
And they're young. I mean, they're both young. Yeah, they're both 26 years old. You're not signing guys that are 30, 32 years old to be primary, player. And they brought. I also the D tackle from Tennessee that I think could be a nice acquisition as well.
Yeah.
I think they made some savvy moves. I liked Ebner, the special teams contributor from the Patriots. Fackrell. So we'll see how it all plays out. But that obviously now brings us to the draft, and the draft has really gotten here fast. I think because of this whole virus and everything else, it's only like 12 days away, and then I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about after that. But but I'm looking forward to it, and I know Giants fans are really torn with this first pick, and I guess what we do with that first pick is going to kind of set the tone for what we do for the rest of the draft. And right now it's between an offensive tackle and it's between Simmons. I personally don't see it going any other way. I know a lot of Giants fans are dreaming about the possibility of Chase Young getting there, and I don't see that happening, but you never know.
But yeah.
Yeah, but what's your thoughts on that number 4 selection, or do you think they possibly trade down, or who do you think they take, and who do you want them to take?
Well, if they get the right deal, and it's got to be the right deal, and it may not even materialize. I mean, now they're talking Lions at number 3 are looking to trade down. Someone might trade up with them to take a quarterback, and
Right.
then with Tua now being, I don't know, is he hurt? Is he with the injuries? Is he? I would not take him that high. Just my personal opinion. I wouldn't. With the injury history, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to go. Is he going to make 5, 10 years? Or is he going to be a bust? It's when you start the injuries, they kind of just continue. Poor Mets fans in year one being Syndergaard and Evan Ingram. I mean, they're look at them. They're constantly injured.
Right.
It's tough. I would like, again, if we can find a team and a right deal to trade down, yeah, that's ideal. Who's it going to be? Not really sure. You got Miami or the Chargers, but whoever it is, okay. If not, I got to go O-line. I really do. We need to be able to win that time of possession. And you do that with an offensive line and a running attack. And you got my opinion, one of the top 3 running backs in the league.
I would go further and say the best when he's healthy.
Okay, I would too, but
yeah.
I'm thinking
we don't want to sound like homers.
Yeah. We don't want to be homers all the time. But absolutely. I'm definitely going. Well, Thomas being a great run blocker and an average pass blocker. Then you got Wills being the opposite, a great pass blocker, not so great on the run. Worse, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Thomas or Wills at this point.
Yeah.
Simmons
is great, but
he's going to be different than your average linebacker. Again, is he going to be able to cover a slot receiver right out of the gate? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He plays in space in the linebacker position, which is where he should be. He's quick. He seems to have instincts. Again, I'm not like super in love with Simmons. He's a good player, bordering on a great player, but he hasn't played it down yet in the NFL. Yeah. There's a lot of players in college who came as the next greatest thing, and they weren't. Yeah. Let's give him a year in the league and say, okay, he's as advertised.
Yeah, well, here's the thing I'll say about Simmons, and I completely get the fixation with Giants fans with Simmons. You go back to the Lawrence Taylor days, this was always a team built on defense. This is a team that has neglected the linebacker position for years. I'll be the first to say that. We have not drafted a first-round linebacker since 1984. So I completely get the fixation with Isaiah Simmons. They see this guy that's versatile. They see that we've been getting burnt in coverage over the middle time and time again. But I think you're in agreement with me that the tackle position is a much bigger need. As bad as we need to improve this defense, you have the second-year quarterback with Daniel Jones, learning a new offense. You have Saquon Barkley. You've invested 2 early first-round picks, and you're not doing your quarterback any favors if you do not draft that offensive lineman early in this draft. Now, some people say, well, it's a deep tackle class, and you could get one in the second round. And maybe you can, but my mindset is I'm sick and tired of just playing around with the offensive line. I want to make sure it's fixed. And if you get an opportunity to get a supreme tackle in this year's draft, which by most people's standards, the 2 guys you just mentioned project to be, Thomas and Wills. Wills more of a right tackle, Thomas more of a left. I think you got to go and do that. That's just my opinion. Obviously, like you said, I want to look to trade down first because that's ideal. You're still going to get that tackle at 6, 7, whatever it may be. But if you're stuck at 4, it's a tough decision. I see both sides of it, but I'm with you. I think you go with the tackle.
Yeah, it's the tackle position and the time of possession. I'm going to go back to that. A lot of people in other chats and websites that I've gone on, and I'm talking, hey guys, offensive line dominates the time of possession. You get an offensive line, you're going to have the time of possession in your hands. The reason I think we lost a lot of games late last year is the defense had nothing left. I mean, they're out on the field for 30 something minutes a game. We were 30th in time of possession.
That's every year. Every year you look at it, we're in the bottom 5-6 in the league for the last 5 years.
You look at the top 6, and they're all playoff teams. Well, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket science. It's fix the offensive line, and that's been Giants football for going back as long as I can remember. Is you run the ball, you dominate the line of scrimmage, you have a great defense, and you win championships. That's the recipe.
Yeah.
I understand it, and as great as Simmons projects to be, I can't take him at 4. I can't do it.
Yeah. Would you be open to say we trade down to 9? Say we get 9 and 20, just hypothetically. Would you be open to taking Simmons there, and then trying to get your tackle at 20, or are you still taking your tackle there even if Simmons is there at 9?
I'm taking my tackle at 9 because for me, Wills, Thomas, and Wirfs are day one starters. Becton, maybe not. After that, there's the drop off. So if none of those 3 are there at 9, then you're back in the same position. You're going, well, maybe the kid from Houston. You're starting to get into that, well, maybe type of thing where those 3 are day one starters right out of the gate. You got to fix the offensive line. I'm going even at 9.
You're going with the tackle.
Yeah, with the tackle.
Yeah, and the other thing that I hear a lot of people say is they're scared to take a tackle because of prior failures. Because we took Flowers and we took Pugh and we took Richburg and we this, that, the other thing. And what I say to that is, yeah, but if you go in with that mentality, why do we take Saquon Barkley? You failed with David Wilson. You failed with Ron Dane. You failed with Tyrone Wheatley. Sometimes you got to just pick. And I get it. I get some people feel like it's a reach because it might be our biggest need, but it might not be the best player. But you could certainly argue these guys are on the same level with Isaiah Simmons. You go back before the Combine, a couple of weeks before the Combine, you go back, people had Andrew Thomas as the second best prospect in this draft.
Sure.
People forget that. So it'll be really interesting.
The only way I don't take an OT is if Young somehow miraculously falls to us. That's the only player I will not take an OT for.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's a special player and he's an edge rusher. Yeah.
He's a generational player. Yeah. And he's going to be, as far as being a lock, he's as close as you're going to get.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it going to happen? Probably not. Yeah. So, and then you can, there are other linebackers out there that you can take. Again, maybe not Simmons quality, but, there's certainly linebackers that are good. They're not great, but they're serviceable.
Who's some of the later round prospects you like on the linebacker position?
I like the kid Troy.
Troy Dye.
We have the run stopping linebackers. What we need, and again, Simmons is someone who can cover a tight end, who can cover a running back out of the gate. This kid, John Greenlawn or whatever.
Yeah. You were talking to me about him. Yeah.
And I mentioned about him. I saw his tape. He was really, really good. But there are good linebackers in rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That, again, aren't Simmons, but they're going to be good NFL players, you think.
Yeah.
But, you do that, and then with the center being Pulley or nobody, the center is the next thing you got to fix. Yeah. You got to get the O-line right. You look at Dallas's O-line. Geez, Zeke has holes I could run through.
Right. And Dak's got all day to throw. And, sure. we know it as well as anybody as Giants fans, and I'm with you. When you look at some of these defenses in this division, you look at Chase Young going to the Redskins,
Oh yeah.
They're going to have a much better defense. The Eagles have some nice players there that could get after the quarterback. The Cowboys have some nice players that get after the quarterback. You got to make sure you protect Jones. I go back to your point about the time of possession. I agree with you. It's something I commonly say on my channel. If you can improve that time of possession, become a ball control offense, you're winning consistently 31, 32 minutes of the time of possession. That in itself makes your defense a stronger unit.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I say. Fix the O-line, your defense gets better.
Yeah. And obviously, like you said, we need to get better on both sides of the football, and it's not going to be
sure.
it's not going to be fixed in 1 year. But I think you're in agreement with me, and some people aren't. It's all a matter of opinion that it's better to fix the O-line this year, being that you have a young quarterback.
Yeah, you got to help Daniel Jones become a quarterback that I think he could be.
Yeah.
I think he could be our franchise quarterback for 10 years, 15 years. Who knows? But he has that in him. And again, Gettleman haters, oh my God, how are we picking this guy at 6? Yeah, well, maybe he's right, and that's why he's getting the big bucks as a GM, and we're talking about it. That's why I'm saying. And getting back to the other question of how long do you keep him around, I gotta keep him around for another 2 years and see where it goes. I mean, this year with being crazy with this virus, that who knows if we're going to have a season and what's the draft's going to look like, and it's going to be a crazy year all the way around.
Yeah.
So maybe this year is like a mulligan. You kind of go, okay, this year, whatever it is, and then you go on from there, and hopefully continue to improve.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. And you mentioned Daniel Jones. I don't want to get your thoughts on him real quick before we close it out. What did you think of Daniel Jones year one in terms of, his strengths and his weaknesses, what he needs to improve on, and what do you think he's going to be going forward?
Well, obviously the ball issues has got to improve. You can't be fumbling, however many times
17, fifth most ever in the history of football.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously that's number one. He's got a head on his shoulders. He's a smart kid, and he's a worker. He doesn't mind hard work. So those two factors, I think, will put him in good standing if we get that offensive line to help him out. I was not crazy about the pick. I didn't know him,
right.
At the time.
Most of us didn't. Duke University, it wasn't that talked about.
Yeah, right. So I'm going, well, okay, and I think he could be a really, really good quarterback for the future for us. And you look at all the teams that have Super Bowls and have rings, they have a quarterback. And he did some really great things. He puts the ball where it should be thrown 70% of the time.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, he's got the accuracy. Does he have a cannon arm? No. Well, okay, so what? Peyton doesn't have a cannon arm, never did.
Yeah. There's plenty of great quarterbacks who don't have cannon arms.
Yeah. And I don't really understand where that is coming from. That, oh my God, he doesn't have a cannon. So what? But he's got all the intangibles to be a really, really good quarterback. And I'm hoping, again, that we protect his butt so he can be that, and get him some help. Get Saquon help. I mean, geez, if he doesn't get injured and he gets a line, he's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. But I completely agree with you. Why invest? This is why I think they're going tackle. Whether or not the people watching this want to go tackle or not, why would Gettleman invest the second overall pick on a player that's a running back, knowing that the offensive line has not improved nearly enough, and not try to fix it when he has the opportunity this year? He's already got his quarterback in place. You would think, at least in my opinion, you'd get some pieces that would be able to help both of those players out that his job relies on. If Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley don't perform, Dave Gettleman's gone.
Yeah. And again, then you're starting over again, which, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Was I surprised that he was not let go? Yeah, a little bit, because that's the usual thing. The GM and the coach get out of here, together.
Yeah, they came in together, they leave together. Yeah.
Right. But hopefully, with this draft, and this is a big draft for us. This is huge. and we got to get it right. Even the picks, in the third, fourth, and fifth round, we've got to get those right too. To get players in here who either can be coachable and be productive, because that's in those rounds, that's where you build your depth. That's where you build your team. I mean, in your first two picks, well, yeah, you're supposed to be able to hit home runs with those. It's the later rounds that you're going, like Slayton in the fifth last year.
Yeah.
That's where you get.
That's where you get paid. That's where you make your money as a GM.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we need this draft to be really, really, really solid.
Yeah, and hopefully it will be. I mean, I think we both agree, especially last year, they have been, and we need it to continue to be
right
this year. Hopefully Gettleman does what he did last year, and he drafts, gives us 4 or 5 solid players, and we continue to build, with the young talent, and hopefully with the improved coaching staff, this could be a much better football team next year. That's all we can hope.
Yeah, just improvement, Again, we're not going to make the Super Bowl next year or this year coming. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
And hopefully Giant fans realize that, but again, this is not a 1-year fix. Hopefully, we'll be competitive for playoffs the following year, and
it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
And it's about long. It's about a long period of time of success rather than a short period of time. That's the way they're building it, I think, and that's the way they should be.
That's why I want an offensive tackle that's going to be here for 10 years. That's why you get a center now that we need desperately, so we can get a offensive line. Will Hernandez, young. Solder is going to be gone probably next year. Zeitler will probably be gone in 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
So we will get an offensive line that is young, that can be together for 6, 7, 8 years. That's how you start. That's how you start the championship runs. Doing that.
Build through the line. I completely agree with you, man.
And the defensive line. The defense was awful last year. There's no question. But is it coaching, which I feel it was? I mean, you're putting DeAndre Baker, again, I don't like a lot of the stuff that he did, but you're putting DeAndre Baker in a position to fail, basically, in Bettcher's system.
Right.
I
agree. I think the coaching's definitely had at least I still think they need more talent, but I'm in complete agreement with you that the coaching didn't put him in the best situation to succeed.
Right. And, you fix the time possession where they're not gassed in the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't remember how many games we were in the third quarter and then just completely lost. And I'm going, oh, geez. Here we go again. It's a fourth quarter meltdown.
It's baby steps. It's baby steps. Yeah. And hopefully this year, like you said, shows some progression. We get a lot better. But Lloyd, man, I had an absolute blast having you on the channel. Definitely would like to have you on again. Gonna try to get a bunch of other fans on, but definitely would like to have you on again. Like getting a different perspective and love talking Giants football with anybody. And you're one of my best subscribers. So I just want to say thank you for coming on, and I hope you're staying safe out there.
Man, stay safe. It was my pleasure, and I'm up for doing this anytime you want.
I appreciate it, buddy.
I had a great time, bud. Thanks.
Have a good one, my man.